Hello and welcome to this section. In this section, we will be introducing the HTML DOM. What is the JavaScript HTML DOM? The full meaning of the DOM is Document Object Model, DOM. Now with the HTML DOM, JavaScript can access and change all elements of an HTML document. How does this HTML DOM operate? When a page is loaded, the browser creates a document object model for the page. So the moment an HTML page is loaded, immediately the browser creates a DOM on that page. Now the HTML DOM model is constructed as a tree of objects. Here is the HTML DOM tree of objects. So we have the document, we have the root element, we have the head, we have the body, we have the title. The title is just directly from the head, and we have the title name. Also, we have the body, we have the attributes, we have the elements, anchor, we have the h1, we have the names in the anchor and in the h1. So basically, this is how the HTML DOM tree, the HTML DOM tree of an object. So this is how it looks like. Okay, it has the properties. It also has the values. So this is how it looks like. So with the DOM, with the object model, JavaScript gets all the power it needs to create a dynamic HTML. Okay, now JavaScript can change all the HTML elements in the page. That's obviously with the DOM. JavaScript can change all the HTML attributes in that page also. Number 3, JavaScript can change all the CSS styles in the page. Number 4, JavaScript can remove existing HTML elements and attributes. Also, JavaScript can add new HTML elements and attributes. Then also, JavaScript can react to all existing HTML events in the page. Lastly, JavaScript can create new HTML events in the page. So what are we going to be learning in this session? We are going to be learning how to change the content of HTML elements. That's number 1. Number 2, how to change the styling of the HTML elements. That's number 2. Number 3, how to react to HTML DOM events. It's a very important topic in this session. And how to add, lastly, how to add and delete HTML elements. Okay, now lastly, before we end this session, what really is the HTML DOM? The HTML DOM is a standard object model and programming interface for HTML. It defines, number 1, the HTML element as object. It defines all the elements. So the moment you start having elements inside your HTML document, the HTML DOM, so firstly is a standard object model. So everything inside the HTML document, every element is seen as an object. That's number 1. Number 2, the properties of it defines the properties of all HTML elements. So I said that earlier on. So it defines the property of all HTML elements. Number 2, the method. It defines the method to access all HTML elements. So we have various methods that we can use to access the HTML elements, something like get element by ID, get element by tag name, and the rest. And lastly, it defines the event for all HTML elements. In other words, the HTML DOM is a standard for how to get, change, add, or delete HTML elements. So that's all you need to know for the introduction of the DOM. So in our next session, we are going to be working quite some things. We're going to be doing some illustrations that will enable you understand what we are actually doing in the DOM. Thank you and see you in our next session.